Bore da pawb. Hi everybody. Croeso I gegin Paolo and welcome to Paolo's Kitchen. Today we're going to be making a traditional Welsh soup, Cawl, for St David's Day. So I hope you'll enjoy the session, and we'll also be talking a little bit about the history and the culture and the language of Wales. So before I start on the recipe today, I've just got 2 or 3 questions. Have a think about the answers, and right at the end of the film I'll give you the answers to those. So my first question is, what is the smallest city in the United Kingdom? So that's question 1. Question 2. What are the 7 Celtic nations? And question 3. At the last census, how many people identified as being Welsh speakers? So we've got 3 questions for you. We'll come back to those. So, I'm a Welsh learner. I'm not a Welsh speaker, but what we're going to try and do as we go through today is just introduce a few words in Welsh. Please forgive my accent if I haven't got it quite right, but we're going to try our best. And today, in honour of St David, who was a vegetarian, we're going to make the vegetarian version of Cawl, but most people, or a lot of people, will make it using lamb as well, but it's just as easy. You can add the lamb in as well if you like this. But this is something which Welsh people will eat all over Wales, particularly on St David's Day. So it's some very basic vegetables, and we're going to go through the vegetables one by one, and we'll start here with the national vegetable of Wales, which are leeks, and in Welsh we call that cennin. We have the parsnips here, which we call panas, onions, winws, potatoes sounds similar, tatus. We have carrots, which are moron, and the last thing I have here is a lovely Swede, swede. So what we're going to do now, the cawl is made up of nice roughly cut pieces of the vegetables. So we're just going to cut up the vegetables and then start cooking. So what we've done here now is cut the vegetables, and as I said, this needs to be quite a chunky soup. We don't want small pieces, because in the cooking they would then start to disintegrate, and whenever I've had cawl, it's got these nice big chunky pieces of vegetables in here. So everything's there, nice big pieces, and we're going to pop them into a saucepan. Now you can put a little bit of stock in there to enhance it. Even if you've got a few herbs from the garden, that gives it a little bit of extra flavour, and don't forget to season it with salt and pepper. It needs to cook on a low heat for about an hour, but they say that the best cawl is the ones that's been cooked, put away and then reheated the next day, because all those lovely flavours blend together. So here we go, we're going to pop these all into the saucepan and get them on the gas in the next moment or two. The vegetables have been cooked now for an hour. They simmered gently in there, and you can see they still retain their shape. It's important that we still have those lovely big chunky pieces. That broth there is absolutely delicious. So how do we eat cawl in Wales? Well, we have a little selection here. Some bread, bara. We have the Welsh butter here, menyn Cymraeg, and you can have with Caerphilly cheese, and I've got this absolutely wonderful Welsh cheese here, caws we call it in Welsh. This one has got chilli, and it's come from Snowdonia, so I'm going to tuck into that a little bit later, and there's some other mild Welsh cheese there. So we have butter, bread and cheese with our cawl, and that's a lovely meal for St David's Day. So we had the quiz, and for the quiz I asked you 3 questions. One, what's the smallest city in the United Kingdom? Well, surprisingly, that's St David's, and it's where there's the huge St David's Cathedral, the final resting place of St David. and there's less than 2,000 people live in the village there. The next one was about how many people speak Welsh in Wales, and at the last census, which was 10 years ago, the census told us that 19% of the Welsh people said they speak Welsh. I'm a bit suspicious about that. I think it's much, much higher, because there are a lot of people who understand Welsh but don't use it often, and there are people like me who are Welsh speakers. And Welsh learners, I should say, not Welsh speak, well, trying to become a Welsh speaker, Welsh learners, and we are still, maybe wouldn't identify as a Welsh speaker. So 19%, we've got the next census coming very, very soon, and we'll see if that figure actually goes up. And the last one, which is my favourite one, is about the Celtic nations. The Celtic people spread out, mostly I think, through the sea. And so if we're going from north to the south, the Celtic nations are Scotland, Ireland, the Isle of Man. We come down to Wales, and then we have Cornwall, which is a Celtic nation, and they had their own Celtic language. Over to France, into Brittany, so that part of Brittany, and people who are Welsh speakers can converse with people in Brittany. And the last one is not often counted, and that's in Galicia, which is the northwest part of Spain, where there was a Celtic language, and you still see the road signs written in 2 languages there. So they're the Celtic nations. So if you're interested to learn Welsh, please speak to our friends at Menticum Gwendraeth. I'm sure they will be able to put you in touch with Welsh lessons. I think it's really good to learn, and you'll find it opens that language is the key to culture as well, so it'll open up a lot of interesting things. So all that's left for me to do is to say thank you very much, diolch yn fawr, and wish you a happy St David's Day. Dydd, Gwyl, Dewi, Hapus.